You are not in control even if you believe you are. You wake up, breathe, make decisions. But deep down something guides you. Something silent, invisible, and powerful. It's not the algorithm. It's not technology. It's desire. Not the noble kind that drives you to grow, to serve, to love, but the fragmented, impatient, conditioned desire. A programmed, domesticated desire. One that you were taught to call pleasure. How many times have you promised yourself that today would be different? That you wouldn't waste time? That you'd stay focused? But it only took a click, an image, a suggestion on the screen, and you sank again. It wasn't a lack of willpower. It was the absence of clarity. The truth is brutal. Your mind is sexualized, and you don't even realize it. It has been conditioned slowly over years to seek cheap dopamine, to associate pleasure with nudity, clicks, and visual stimuli, to confuse freedom with consumption. Every time you swipe your finger in search of relief, you train your brain to escape the now. You weaken your presence, your focus, your masculine essence. And maybe, like me, you only realized it too late. I missed great opportunities because of small distractions. I watched my clarity evaporate in the glow of a screen. I saw purpose drowned in instant pleasure. But it was there in the pain of failure that something shifted. I realized that if my mind could be trained for slavery, it could also be reprogrammed for freedom. And that's what we're going to talk about here. No tricks. No productivity hacks. Real transformation. Because desiring doesn't mean castrating your desire. It means regaining dominion over it, putting the king back on the throne, turning impulse into intention, chaos into presence, and reaction into silent power. Today, I'll show you exactly how to break free from this cycle, how to reclaim your focus, your control, and your vital energy. But before we continue, answer with brutal honesty. Do you control your mind, or does it control you? Have you ever tried to focus on something important, but felt as if an invisible force was pulling you away? You wanted to build, but you clicked. You wanted to grow, but you scrolled. You wanted to be present, but you were swallowed by images that don't move you, don't elevate you, don't heal you. That's not distraction. It's control. A silent, subtle, but deep control. And most men live without realizing that their minds have been stolen. They think they choose to watch that video, that they decided to open that app. But no, they were just responding to what had already been programmed. Desire took the wheel, and here lies the dirtiest secret of the system. It doesn't want to destroy you, only to keep you distracted. Because a distracted man never builds, never confronts, never leads, never awakens. We live in a time where the greatest battlefield is the male mind. And the most powerful weapon used against you is sex. Not the physical act, but the image, the suggestion, the symbol repeated, repackaged, refined until it becomes routine. Sex is no longer in your bed. It's in ads, in reels, in clicks. It hides in every movement of the algorithm, offering instant pleasure in exchange for your attention. And you pay with minutes, with energy, with pieces of your soul you don't even realize you're giving away. With every click, your focus shrinks, your presence dissolves, your inner strength is drained by something that never feeds you. It only stimulates, and when you wake up the next day, you feel the fog, the unexplained fatigue, the lack of clarity, the nameless shame that haunts you all day long. This is not weakness. It's engineering. The world was designed to stimulate desire before you even think, to keep you reactive so you don't reflect on who you're becoming. Just desire more, consume more, run away more. But there's a small moment where you can choose, a moment between impulse and action, and that's where everything changes. You can keep living with a hijacked mind, or you can begin to pull back the thread of your attention, with firmness, with discipline, with awareness. Because as long as desire decides for you, you will never be free. They never needed chains and never needed cages because they discovered something far more effective. Dopamine. A tiny molecule, but powerful enough to bring the most determined men to their knees. Dopamine is what your brain releases when you feel pleasure, anticipation, or reward. It's natural, necessary, divine. It was made to move you toward nourishment, challenge, love, transcendence. But what happens when that system is hacked? Today, you don't need to cross a desert to earn something meaningful. You only need to open an app, swipe your finger, click on an image, and that image engineered to hijack your most primitive instinct triggers a small explosion in your brain chemical ping that says, keep going. Just one more. Just one more. And without realizing it, you're caught in the cycle. The prison without walls, but with addiction. The cell with no lock, but with repetition. Every hypersexualized stimulus, every short video, every easy reward strengthens a neural path like a river carving into the earth. The more it flows, the harder it is to change its course. And over time, that river takes everything. Your focus, your presence, your depth. You start to lose interest in the things that truly matter. Long-term projects feel boring. Deep conversations feel exhausting. Relationships require effort. And you're already drained from so much distraction. Dopamine, which was meant to be your engine, becomes your poison. You no longer feel joy in simple things or in real victories. The only thing that still feels alive is the next stimulus and the next and the next. That's how the invisible prison is built. When everything around you offers instant pleasure, but nothing offers meaning. But here's the secret. What was programmed can be reprogrammed. You can slow down. You can relearn silence. You can rebuild your sensitivity to what is deep, not just to what is easy. But that requires what few are willing to give: time and discomfort. Because in the early days, you'll feel empty, anxious, irritable. It's your brain detoxing from an addiction that was never presented to you as one. But if you endure, if you withstand the withdrawal from superficiality, a new mind begins to emerge. A mind that is less reactive, more present, more powerful. Because when you break free from constant dopamine, you begin to feel pleasure in what truly matters. And that rarer, deeper pleasure is the essence of a man who doesn't need to be stimulated to act. He acts because he is free. You think your desire is your own, but it's not. It was designed, manufactured, and sold back to you as if it were natural. The story begins in the early 19th century. A man named Edward Bernays, nephew of Sigmund Freud, discovered something that would change the world. People don't buy with reason. They buy with desire. And if desire can be awakened, then choices can be controlled. That's how modern advertising was born. And with it, the era of invisible manipulation. Before that, ads said, "Our soap cleans better." After burns, they said, "This soap makes you desirable." The focus shifted from the product to your unconscious. And what is the most vulnerable door to the unconscious? Sexual desire. There is no force older, more primal, more automatic. It's through this force that our ancestors survived. And it's through it that you are manipulated today. Sex began to sell everything. Perfumes, cars, burgers, phones, social networks. Not because they bring physical pleasure, but because they activate the same dopamine circuit, the same trigger of the animal mind. This technique was refined, amplified, automated, and today it is everywhere. An ad that seems harmless, a video that appears by chance, a suggested image you didn't ask for. None of it is a coincidence. It's behavioral engineering. And you unknowingly have become a product. Your attention is the most valuable asset in the modern world, and your unintegrated sexuality is the fastest shortcut to stealing it. They no longer need to sell pleasure. They sell the promise of pleasure, and you pay with time, with energy, with your soul. But here's the truth no one told you. What seduces you controls you. If your desire is conditioned by images, likes, and notifications, then you no longer desire like a man. You desire like a programmed machine. You don't choose. You react, and while you react, others build, others lead, others dominate, including you. But there is a way out, and it begins with recognition. You must see the game, study the rules, and realize how and when your desire was hijacked. Only then can you reclaim it, not to repress it, but to redirect it, because the desire that was once used against you can become the energy that builds your kingdom. Imagine your mind as a garden. Everything you consume is a seed. Every image, every video, every word you allow implants something. The problem? You've been watering weeds and then wonder why you don't harvest peace. It's not just about pornography. It's about empty distractions. About content that feeds desire but kills the spirit. It's about allowing your mind to become fertile ground for the trivial. And then when you try to focus to build to love, nothing grows because your soil is exhausted, because the ground of your attention has been poisoned by fast stimuli and false rewards. Do you feel anxious in silence? Do you feel bored when nothing stimulates you? Do you feel the urge to run when faced with something internal? These are symptoms of a mind in toxic overload. But here's the good news. The garden can be replanted, and it all starts with a decision to control what enters. You can't cultivate if you're feeding distraction. You can't desire depth while consuming superficiality. The first step is cleaning. It's not pleasant, but it's essential. Stop for a moment and look at the voices in your feed. Who are the influences you follow? What are the videos you watch make you feel? After minutes scrolling, are you stronger or emptier? You don't need to follow a monk, but you do need to stop following demons. Replace. Trade what feeds your ego for what awakens your soul. Trade noise for wisdom. Trade artificial sensuality for inner power. At first, it will feel strange. You'll miss the stimulation. You'll feel withdrawal from distraction. But that absence is sacred, because where noise once lived, space will appear, and in that space, focus begins to grow. Clarity sprouts. Purpose takes root. Little by little, you begin to notice the changes. You list better. You sleep better. You create better. You live better. Not because the world has changed, but because you've stopped being a victim of it. A detoxed mind is not silent. It is fertile, and the man who learns to choose what he cultivates in his own mind becomes the gardener of his own reality. The mind is like a wild horse. If you don't learn to hold the reins, it takes you wherever it wants, and the destination is almost always the abyss of distraction. But there is an ancient path. Simple. Quiet. It demands nothing but presence. And that's why so many avoid it. Meditation. In the modern world, meditation feels like a waste of time. A mind trained by dopamine says sitting still, that's useless. But that's exactly the trap. You've been conditioned to believe that value lies in movement, in urgency, in stimulation. But the inner warrior does not grow in noise. He awakens in silence. Meditation is the training of the most weakened muscle of the modern man. Inner control. Sit. Breathe. Observe. That's it. But by doing this every day, something begins to change. You stop reacting and start choosing. In the beginning, your mind will resist. It will scream. It will thrash. It will throw 1,000 thoughts, images, desires at you. It's used to being served, not guided. But over time, the chaos begins to quiet, and at the depths of your mind, a new presence emerges. The observer. He is the one who separates impulse from action. He is the one who sees desire arise and does not bow to it. He is the one who transforms the ordinary man into a warrior. And make no mistake, meditation is not about not thinking. Minutes of silence in a world that screams. Minutes of pause in a mind trained to run. Little by little, you will see the fruits. Less reactivity, more presence. less anxiety, more mastery. And when temptation arises, and it will, you won't be swallowed by it, because the warrior who trains in silence wins on the battlefield. He guides your steps. You wake up, get up, work, consume. But where are you going? And more importantly, why? Most men live like drifting boats, sailing without a map, pushed by other people's winds. And what drives them most of the time is not purpose. It's escape. Escape from pain. Escape from silence. Escape from themselves. The system knows this. That's why it offers distractions, false goals, likes instead of meaning, dopamine instead of direction. And while you chase after quick rewards, your inner compass rusts. But there comes a moment when all of this collapses. The stimulus no longer satisfies. The distraction no longer soothes. And the man begins to hear a whisper. What am I doing here? That is the beginning. It's uncomfortable. It's terrifying. But it's sacred. Because a man without purpose is vulnerable. But a man who finds his why becomes unshakable. Redefining purpose is not about creating an artificial goal. It is about excavating what already exists within you. It is about asking with brutal honesty, what moves me? What frustrates me? What ignites me? What am I willing to sacrifice? Do not accept shallow answers. Money is not purpose. Success is not direction. The true north is that which would keep you standing even when everything around you falls apart. For some, it's the mission to impact lives. For others, it's creating something beautiful, being an example, building a strong family. It doesn't matter what it is as long as it's true. Write it down. Declare it. Remember it. Your purpose must be visible, because on the days when temptation comes, and it always comes, you'll need something greater than immediate desire. You'll need to look at your purpose and say, not today. Today I choose what matters. The desexualized mind is one that has direction, that isn't dragged by impulses, because it is anchored in a vision that can't be bought or copied, only discovered. Carl Jung said that a man who does not know himself becomes a slave to the collective. And the collective has no purpose, only repetition. But the man who finds his north doesn't need to be reminded of what to do. He just acts with firmness, with presence, with soul. Imagine a free mind, a mind that does not bow to impulses, that is not guided by algorithms, that doesn't seek approval. A mind that doesn't allow itself to be consumed, but instead chooses what it consumes. This is the mind that creates, that builds, and that turns presence into power. This is the mind you can forge. But don't wait for a miracle. Don't expect to wake up one day cured of addiction, distraction, dependence. Liberation doesn't happen by accident. It happens by decision. And the first decision is simple yet profound. You are not your desire. You are the one who observes desire. And therefore, you can shape it, re-educate it, and redirect it. You can reprogram your dopamine, rebuild your focus, recover your clarity. But for that you must let go of what is easy to reach what is essential. You don't need another video. You need less distraction. You need presence and courage. Courage to face the emptiness that instant pleasure hides. Courage to say no. No to the algorithm, to your old self, to the digital prison. From the moment you silence the noise, the true voice of your soul begins to emerge. And with it comes the truth. You are not here to be a slave. You are here to be a creator. And on this path, you are not alone. Here on OB/FUSC Eder, we speak about this every day, about the man who chooses consciousness over compulsion, about the awakening of a mind that is free, present, and powerful. Every video is a path. Every reflection is a compass. We are a community of seekers, men and women who refuse to live on autopilot, who reject superficiality, who dare to face their shadows in order to live in the light. If this video spoke to you, don't let it be just another video. Let it be the beginning. Share it with someone who needs it. Thank you for being with us.